We mentioned in a post last week about our family liaison officer falsifying consent to autopsy, which we said we'd go into more details about. So we never had a family liaison officer. WA Police told us families only get one after a major incident, which apparently our son being shot 3 times isn't major. After we were told this, the cop we'd been led to believe for 6 weeks was the lead investigator on our case then said he was our family liaison officer. We then found out he'd been recording our phone calls without our knowledge or consent, and apparently this is perfectly legal, if not morally reprehensible. However, when we questioned the falsified Form 1 at inquest, where our informed consent to a full autopsy had been forged, this phone call apparently wasn't recorded. The Form 1 notifies the coroner of a death. This form was filled in and falsified on the day Luke was killed by a Whitsundays cop who has never been questioned about this crime. It's never been investigated and it's not even mentioned in findings, so the coroner has completely ignored it. Days after the Whitsundays cop forged this form, we spoke to our so-called family liaison officer about autopsy, in which he mentioned that in our case it needed to be done, but the extent of autopsy was never mentioned, and we assumed, like most people would, that being shot in the chest meant they'd basically just recover the bullets. We felt we had no choice, and we were unaware that our informed consent had actually already been fraudulently given, which this so-called family liaison officer should have known, because he was a liaison officer and all. And what this meant was that despite our son's cause of death being completely obvious with his chest wounds, the pathologist had a document confirming consent to remove our son's brain. And apart from the fact this document was falsified, the pathologist never questioned the need to even do that. Now, we first knew when we were all alone in Townsville after travelling from WA to see our boy for the first time. The funeral director called us just before we left our hotel to inform us of his shock at discovering that this had been done and we might not want to see him. Nothing would have stopped us though, and we had a frantic and emotionally charged period of time trying to find a beanie for him to wear so we wouldn't be any more traumatised than we already were. This was a sick and disgusting violation and a shameful crime that the coroner failed to not only investigate, but her failure to make any recommendations of this in findings will put others at risk. And we just hope those 2 police officers realise the damage they've done and never forget the pain that their actions have caused. Their names, just like the ones directly involved in our son's death, will be forever etched on our souls. Imagine now having to go back to them to ask for all the evidence that they withheld from us for all this time in the hope that they will actually send it to us this time.